Am I the asshole? Because I didn't let my son stay home today. My son approached me yesterday after school and told me that he didn't want to go to school the next day. I asked him why and he told me that he just didn't feel like going and he was tired of waking up early in the morning. I told him that that wasn't a good enough reason for him to stay home and that if he feels tired when waking up in the morning then he should try and go to get in bed earlier. He got upset with me when I told him that and told me that he needs to stay home for the sake of his mental health. He then told me that making him go to school would only worsen it. I asked him why he thought that and he told me that the kids and teachers at his school irritates him. This made me concerned, so I asked him if anyone was bullying him or if he was having problems with some of his teachers, and he just told me that he wasn't and he just finds them annoying. I asked him if that was the only reason and he told me that it was. I understood where my son was coming from and I tried to show my understanding. I told him how I sometimes find my coworkers annoying too, but that doesn't mean I get to skip work just because of it. I told him that if he is serious about school being detrimental to his mental health, then I told him that I'll try and find him a therapist to help him manage it. He then got even more mad at me and told me that he doesn't need a therapist and that he only needs time away from school. He told me that I don't understand how stressful school can be and that's why he needs time away. I told him that I do understand, and a therapist could be beneficial in helping him deal with stress. He started arguing with me about not wanting to go again and I just got frustrated. I told him that he has an upcoming doctor's appointment this Wednesday, so there's no need for him to miss both Tuesday and Wednesday. I told him that I don't want him to miss days of school unless they are absolutely necessary. He took this as me telling him that his mental health wasn't important, and then he started telling me that I must not love him if I send him to school. He then told me that if I try and force him to see a therapist, I'll have something else to worry about. I asked him to clarify what he meant by that, but he didn't specify. He just told me not to worry about it and to leave him alone. Cut to this morning. He was very hostile with me from the moment he woke up and was practically ignoring me whenever I tried to speak to him. Then when I dropped him off at school, he told me that he finds it weird that I hate him so much and don't want him to succeed in life. Then before I could say anything, he got out of the car quickly. When I picked him up from school today, I tried to talk about what happened and what he said, but he just ignored me and is still not speaking to me. Why is nobody else talking about the fact that the kid got aggressive, even to the extent of threatening her when she said no? I feel like that may be the bigger problem here. Not the asshole. But at that age, allowing them a mental health day once or twice a year is not going to hurt them academically, but can teach them the importance of self-care. I let my son do it every now and then. He knows it is there if he really needs it. He does not abuse it. The kids in high school now have been preached to about mental health. Meanwhile, adults were taught to push through. A lot of adults don't know how to do self-care. Instead, they keep pushing through until they crack. Kids learn they don't need a band-aid if the boo-boo is not bleeding. Sometimes, we can't see the boo-boo from the outside, and we need to trust them. AITA therapy is certainly in order. You're clearly willing to help him, if he's willing to help you by explaining what the problem is so you can work together to address it. I don't want to go to school is not a reason. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You did due diligence to find out if your son was being bullied. His "you don't care about my mental health" shtick just sounds manipulative. Not high school teacher here. Sometimes kids just can't. Sometimes you have to make them go. I have had students who got into a bad routine of school avoidance. If this has never happened before and his reaction is unexpected, I get the feeling something else is going on. A phone call to his school counselor to give them a heads up that this is going on at home could be helpful to get him on their radar. Info: how often does your son ask to stay home from school just because? And are his grades okay? Not the asshole. Oh, man. I remember those days. This will pass, I promise. My son was just like this about school at this age: avoidant, argumentative, and somewhat combative. He's a really smart kid with big feelings, and I imagine your son is, as well. We had a few really rough years from the age of 15-18. I would still follow up with a visit with a therapist, however. Life is hard sometimes, and talking things through with an adult that is not a parent can be helpful. In addition, sometimes finding an interest in a school activity clubs, organizations, and sports, for example, can make school more palatable for some kids. Finally, as a teacher, myself, I know how challenging this time of year is for everyone. February feels endless. Not the asshole. You were clearly willing to help him and hear him out, and did your due diligence getting curious and trying to be understanding, but since what you were offering wasn't exactly what he wanted and how he wanted it, he chose to react poorly. He might just be acting out of teenage angst, or he might be trying emotional blackmail, or he might be hiding something much more serious. Whatever it is, it doesn't mean that you did the wrong thing. He also was getting a break from school the very next day, and you took that into account, and that day even includes a doctor's appointment, so his mental health can be brought up there if needed. His aggressiveness to the point of vaguely threatening you is actually kind of concerning. If you can bring that up to the doctor privately, it might be a good thing to do. He then told me that if I try and force him to see a therapist, I'll have something else to worry about. I asked him to clarify what he meant by that, but he didn't specify. Hello? Didn't anyone else pick up on this? Call me crazy, but the first thing that went through my mind was school shooting. Truth be told, it's not that far-fetched. Not the asshole. Hess a teenager. They're overdramatic. And you sound genuinely concerned and understanding in this moment. He has a day off Wednesday. If it's potentially only a part day off for the doctors, just give him the whole day off. Lean into saying that you do care about his mental health, but you also care about his education. If this is going to become a reoccurring thing, maybe give him a set number of mental health days for the year that he can use periodically. My mom did this when I was going through it in high school too. It was actually super helpful and helped me determine then I actually needed an additional break. On the note of the therapist, don't force it but continuously keep it an option. Not just for this but in general. It seemed like you handled this well. If Hess hiding something about his mental health that's concerning, but forcing it out of him isn't going to help. That's wild. When I was 16 we just got dropped off at the front door and walked out the back door. Not the asshole.